right. Lord Blake says love and peace. Let's just say thanks to the police. I can tell you a lot of people don't feel like that. But we have Inspector Mc Kenzie here with us, and I can say love and peace. Let me say thank you to him for being with us here this morning. Good morning, Inspector.
Good morning, Natalie. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It's my pleasure to be here once again, and it's also my pleasure to have you saying thanks to the police. It's very nice to
now you're
receive such
stretching
a
it. That's
message.
Lord Blakey, man. and the funny thing is, this morning we're going to be talking about customer service, how the police interacts with the public, because over the years we've heard of good interactions, but it seems a lot of the interactions, Inspector, seems to be negative. Like, I've interacted with police, and somehow they always start from a position of superiority. Is that even necessary?
Okay, I don't share the view that most of our interactions with the public is negative. I share the view that we have incidents, where members of the public are treated at times by police officers in manners that we try to avoid, in manners that are less suited for public officers to treat with members of the public. So having recognized that, the organization some years ago embarked on customer training for police officers. The organization also, in terms of its delivery to the wider population, has continued to reinvent itself in terms of how we deliver our policing skills, how we deliver ourselves to the community, because it's our objective, it's our goal to serve Trinidad and Tobago. Our vision, of course, is to make sure that every place in Trinidad and Tobago is safe. And how we do that? By way of our motto, which is to protect and serve with pride. Pride being professionalism, respect, integrity, dignity, and excellence. So having regard to those words, a police officer has to actually live those words in terms of our service delivery. The organization, again, continues to show itself in terms of service delivery by way of accessibility. We are accessed through individual police stations, and if for some reason a member of the public has a challenge in a particular station, the person with responsibility for any police station, maybe the inspector or sergeant, they are the persons who that person should treat with for an intervention that can be corrected.
You speak of the police service that we'd all love to see here in Trinidad and Tobago, but I honestly think I have to disagree with you about the reality on the ground, because like, we've been here and we've heard so many reports of people going to police stations and literally, one, being ignored, or two, being told to go to another station. And then when you go to another station, and I've literally had that experience, you know, you meet with an accident and you go, in your mind, this is the closest police station to you or to where the accident happens. And you go there. And instead of just trying to assist you, you're being told, well, this is not where the report is to be made. Is that good customer service?
It's areas that we continue to work on. We're not going to hide our heads in the sand. As I said before, we have accepted the fact that there are some areas of customer service that need to be addressed. That is a fact. I still don't share the view that it's in the majority. There are instances that still need to be addressed. And of course, it's a cultural change we're looking for. We have to remember, of course, that running the police service is not the same as running a departmental store.
Yeah.
As police officers, we engage with members of the public who may be violent, who may be unfriendly to us, who may, for some reason, trigger the officer's conduct in a particular way. And I'm not saying that that should be an excuse for an officer to react negatively, because the same customer service training that we're referring to is exactly what the officer needs to pull out from inside of him to treat with that member of the public in such a way that he can de-escalate a situation or calm a situation. So, as police officers, your training, your background, even your humility has to come to the fore so that we can achieve our objective. Now remember, as police officers, we engage quite often in violent offenses. So,
no, you know what, Inspector, I understand that if you're dealing with somebody who is being violent or even being rude or abrasive, that the response could very well be even outside of the customer service training, right? But let's take, for example, walking into a police station to get a certificate of character. You're at the front and you're beckoning to somebody because everybody is ignoring you as if somehow you're not at the front trying to get some service. Excuse me, certificate of, just walk around the back and go to the second door, please. Ma'am, the door is closed because I've been there before. Go to the second door there, that's where they do that. Ma'am, it's raining. And this is a personal experience. And I know I'm not violent. You just try, and I have to say, but why this damn police officer so abrasive? And I literally said that in front of her because I'm trying to figure out why it can't just be, good day, how are you, what would you like to get done? You know, okay, go there. Is the door closed? All right, let me see if I can get an officer to assist you. It doesn't work like that, Inspector.
And Natalee, it also works like this, where we have negative experiences, one way or the other, whether it be police officers or otherwise. It always tends to stand to the fore in our minds, and it outweighs the positives that we do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit here this morning and pretend that it doesn't exist, because it does. I'm also saying to you that as police officers, I have seen police officers who are compassionate and continue to extend themselves above and beyond. I have seen the same police officers in the same charge room be very, very courteous to members of the public, and sometimes even when the same police officers don't have to be.
Yeah.
So, and again, I have also been the subject of the same type of experience you have experienced.
So if
Natalee,
you take off the uniform and walk into a station, you might, so
exactly.
obviously,
And
let me just say before you go any further that I have definitely interacted in that same police station, the exact police station with the police who are acting like hogs.
Yeah.
I have literally encountered excellent police officers in that very same station.
Correct. And Natalee, we have safeguards. Our safeguard for police officers who find themselves acting contrary to what we consider to be in the best interest of the organization. We have internal persons who would conduct investigations into the conduct of the police officers.
But only if we trigger them, though, because like something like that, I would not trigger it. I'd get frustrated, and I just don't want to go to that police station.
Well, again, the reason for programs like these is part of customer service on itself. So that as members of the public, if for some reason you recognize that you are being aggrieved by a police officer unnecessarily also, you have the option of reporting that interaction to the police station, who can cause that police officer to be investigated. We have Police Complaints Authority that deals with internal discipline within the organization.
Yeah, but within the police service, though, if you investigate that person, do you ever get back to the complainant and say, well, listen, this is what happens to this officer? Because even when it just comes on to investigations, a lot of times we hear people, I've had people on this program with missing relatives and say, well, we just don't hear anything from the police. Is the police even going to take the time to say to the complainant, well, listen?
It's part of our duty to respond to you, to get back onto you. Again, a lot depends on the instance itself. So if it's a case where we need you as a witness, for example, to have that officer prosecuted, as we said, definitely we would get back onto you. If it's a case where it's as simple as an apology to you, the customer, probably someone senior to that person would come to you, have a conversation with you, apologize to you, and then internally we would treat with that situation, so at that stage there's no need to communicate with you any further.
How often are police officers trained in customer service?
So, as I said earlier, some years ago, the then Commissioner of Police would have recognized that we needed to treat with customer service directly. And part of the initiative then was to have police officers trained in customer service. Now, mind you, we have written regulations, we have written rules that tells us how to, as police officers, engage in some instances with members of the public, as simple as how we answer the telephone. Yeah. It's written as to what you say when you answer the telephone.
And talk the truth, many officers feel that.
No. Actually, many officers actually comply with the regulation in terms of how you should.
What are they supposed to say? Tell us, Inspector, so that I can double check next time I call the police station.
So it's quite simple and broadly. If this is a police station, you identify yourself by your number, rank, name. You identify the station that you are attached.
Your number,
your rank,
your
and your
rank,
name.
And the I am telling you, most of them fail. I've called the police station. You don't. Officers on a whole don't want to tell you. They'll tell you their rank, but they're not telling you their numbers, their badge numbers.
The reality is, as police officers, we have to treat with members of the public in a very cooperative way, because what we expect from members of the public is your cooperation. For us to solve crime, we need you on board. For us to get a confession, we need to know that, or we need you to know that you can trust us. And again, for many other things we do in terms of policing, we need that level of support, that level of cooperation. We often partner with external stakeholders in our communities. Again, it's to assist us in assisting you. So that level of customer service is something we would always continue to strive towards getting correct. As I said before, the TTPS, and I think any other law enforcement agency around the world continues to be a work in progress, as it relates to our customer service delivery. And I can also stand here very, very proud, reflecting on my years past in terms of what I was exposed to as a police officer to what exists today. And I can tell you, we have made a whole lot of strides as it relates to our level of customer service delivery. And of course, in the coming years, I expect that we would continue to do better. And again, the agenda has to be changed. What we say in the public domain has to be changed. Because if we continue to speak negatively, people would see us negatively. As an example, you're intermediate, which would quicker make the headlines. An officer who rescues 4 people or an officer who shot 4 persons. So the point is, people
because
always
you see, the
gravitate to the
tagline
negatively.
is to protect and to serve.
Yeah, it is.
So when you hear an officer shooting 4 people, obviously it's news, because that's not the remit of the officer. We don't want to hear of any kind of crime involving a police officer, because it's against what the police service stands for. But Ruckus has a question.
Well, I just wanted to get back to one of the things that you mentioned earlier when it comes to being able to report a police officer and get some sort of results, right? I'm curious as to what are the things that, specifically, to be honest with you, I've had so many of my female friends tell me that when they go to the police station to make a report for whatever the purpose is, and then afterwards, weeks afterwards, they have police officers messaging them personally with some out-of-time messages, trying to get a date or trying to get to go out with them and things like that. Is there something in place that can deal with that particular issue?
Right, so every incident that you report would be investigated from some police officer senior in rank to the person who is being reported. At the end of it, 2 things can happen. The officer can be prosecuted or recommended for prosecution in breach of some departmental policy or regulations, as the case may be, or the officer can be vindicated for his actions. Because sometimes there may be nothing that is directly wrong with the officer's conduct, except that probably in best case scenario is not something that you should do. But in terms of a breach of a disciplinary process, then the answer is no. So an officer failing to say good morning is not necessarily a breach of policy. It's a breach of just good courtesy.
Yeah.
You follow? So you reporting that would just probably
No, but
cause
we're not
an
talking
officer
about that, though. We're talking about you having my number because I made a report to the station and using it now for personal gain.
Of course. And in instances like those, as I said, if you were to report it, and simply how you report it, so let's walk through that process. If you wish, you can go to any police station, because we have a one-door policy in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. You could go to any police station, you could have that.
Inspector, you have to tell some of these police that, though, they don't know.
And these programs and others would help even our police officers, because this is training, this is teaching our police officers and the members of the public, because sometimes we have high expectations that are unreasonable as well. So as persons who listen to this program, as persons who interact with our police officers, we too expect that you would be courteous to us as well. And it doesn't go one way, it's a two-way conversation, it's a two-way experience.
I definitely agree, because I've definitely seen the public be antagonistic to me towards the police officers where it isn't warranted. And I think it just comes from just expecting the police to be bad. And therefore just reacting and responding that way, even when it doesn't merit it.
Yeah.
So I think you're right, this is good, where we can continue to have these discussions so that people can understand that it's a two-way street.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Our job is to be responsive, our job is to police, our job is to be there for our citizens, and of course to make, as you said, every space, every place, every street, every home as safe as it can be. And of course, we need you as well to trust us as police officers in doing that job. And the fact that, Natalee, you would have said what you said this morning, it also indicates to me that we still have a long way to go in terms of our service delivery to members of the population. So we would not pretend that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We would not say no, it does not happen. But what we would continue to commit to is to strive for excellence. We would not give up in terms of our service delivery to our nation.
Well, I'm definitely hoping things improve, because I'm telling you, as I said, I've had excellent, reactions with police officers, and I've had really horrible, feedback or reaction from police officers. And when you get those, I think it stands out more because when you get good reaction, that's what you expect.
Yeah.
The expectation is for the police to be good to you because you don't want to have an antagonistic relationship with the police service. When it's the same police service you have to call to protect and to serve. So if we can work on that relationship, and I know that the police has a lot of things that they do within the communities to try to improve that relationship, but do you think we're making the strides that we need to?
I think we are, and again, training helps in that regard. Experience helps because an officer who is junior would obviously treat with a situation way different in most instances than an officer who is senior and has some experience under his belt. As an officer working in that charge room environment, many a times it's challenging because persons come to you sometimes for assistance in some domains where you really have no authority. And what we really want at the end of it is that every time someone walks out of that station, they walk out feeling better. They walk out with a good experience, a good interaction. That helps us as the organization because come tomorrow, the same officer can come to you. Because why? We need your assistance. We need you to help us in terms of making your community safe. So,
well, Inspector, I have a challenge for you. On every police station, inside the door to write, please remember to let the customer leave happy. Because I think, psychologically, if somebody is constantly seeing that, you're going to still have the ones who are going to be, the mentality going to need some Jesus, and then you have those who are probably going to conform. But we have to leave it there for today. Next week, we'll definitely pick up. Who knows what we'll be speaking to the police about next week. You should tune in 6:50 a.m. right here on TTT on a Monday, where we speak with Inspector Steve Mc Kenzie to just talk to us about, what the police service is doing. But